Hi, and welcome to More Human, More Resources, the HR podcast for entrepreneurs. I'm Vicki Brown, your host and CEO of Vidamaneo Enterprises. As a serial entrepreneur, I understand that having the right expert help has been critical to my success. That's why I'm dedicated to telling you, in plain language, what's going on in the world of HR that might impact your business and what you need to do about it, with real actionable tips to help you master that list of must-dos and grow your leadership muscle. First things first, the information contained in this podcast is provided for general purposes only and is not to be considered legal advice. Your decision to adopt or not adopt any practice or procedure mentioned in this podcast is solely yours, and we bear no responsibility for the outcome. We urge you to always consult legal counsel and other appropriate licensed professionals. And with that, let's get into the show. You're listening to Season 2, Episode 29. So, you're a leader in a fast growth company, and that's pretty heady stuff, but it's also filled with potential obstacles. There's so much to do. Things are changing all the time. New clients bring new challenges. You know what they say, new level, new devil. But here's the deal. You, as the leader, have to be sure that the company is getting the highest level of productivity and commitment from your team. You have to be sure that they're motivated. You have to make sure that they're stretched, but not breaking. And to top it all off, you have to avoid these obstacles, the pitfalls that can slow down your growth and bring your team to a screeching halt. Oh, there's a list, but in this episode, I'm going to talk about the big three. First up, and I know you know this, so it's just a reminder, what got you here won't necessarily get you there. It's a hard thing, but the reality is that all that change and growth brings more responsibility, a need for larger or a different skill set than you needed from your team in the past. In a phrase, you'll just need more. And I don't mean more work hours. You need smarter, not harder. You need more innovation and more experience and more knowledge from your team. You need to be comfortable delegating and have confidence knowing that not only will the thing get done, but it will be done well and maybe even better than you imagined. You need your team to, and I say this all the time, bring something to the party. Contribute. And yes, sometimes it's just a training gap. Actually, that's when it's easy, because you can just provide more training and bring the person up to speed. But unfortunately, sometimes it's a lot more than that. Sometimes that person simply isn't up to what you're asking of them. They don't have the experience. They don't have the knowledge or skill to get you what you need. Now, I know it's a very hard thing to say, and even harder to experience. Realizing someone that you've worked side by side with, maybe for years, someone who was an early adopter, someone who bought into your dream when it was just a twinkle in your eye, it's awful to come to the realization that that person simply doesn't fit the needs of their job anymore. But remember a couple of things. First, as you continue to get frustrated because the job isn't getting done, that person can feel your frustration. Even if you never say a thing, they know that they're disappointing you. And so they probably try harder, only to see that it's not enough. That makes them feel worse. No one wants to think that they aren't making the grade. It's demoralizing and saps your energy and enthusiasm. So while you already know you aren't happy, you have to keep in mind they aren't happy either. And second, while the most obvious answer is to let them go, there are other alternatives. Just because they can't do the job you need doesn't mean they wouldn't be a tremendous help to a more senior person. Your best option might be to bring someone in above them. Okay, yes, that's a hard pill for them to swallow. But if you manage it right, you get the best of all worlds. You get the experience and chops you need in the job. The new person gets support from someone who knows the ropes, and your veteran team member stays with the team. The next pitfall is waiting too long to hire for capacity. Small businesses face this all the time. I don't want to hire until I have the revenue coming in. But by the time the revenue is coming in, everyone is stretched beyond their limit and we have massive capacity issues. Well, that's not a small business problem. It's a business problem. Businesses of all sizes fail to hire in a timely way. But here's the secret. You have to hire a bit, but not too much, ahead of capacity. And that means you have to have a plan. Map out what work you have and how much you're expecting in a given period. Then figure out how much each person can produce. Once you know that, then you can create a roadmap of what you expect to come in and when it makes sense to bring on a new person. And above all, remember, don't be like me. I used to sidestep hiring because I didn't have $120,000 for a year's salary. But the truth is, I don't need the full year's salary, because if someone doesn't pay for themselves in 3 months, then you need to rethink having them on the team. So you only need $30,000, the first 3 months' salary. And the final pitfall? You aren't growing. Yep, it's all about you. If you aren't growing as a person, then you aren't growing as a leader. And if you aren't growing as a leader, how do you expect your company to continue to grow? If you aren't careful, your role could outpace you, grow beyond your capacity. And your team could too. So it's up to you to make sure that doesn't happen. Get more knowledge, expand your thinking, and above all, get help. Recently we hit on a growth spurt, and while this isn't our first, I do have to say this one has been a bit bumpier than most. We're at a different level. There are more of us, there are more clients, and we're upgrading our systems and on and on and on. But one thing I realized is that I have to get back into some sort of coaching or peer support, a mastermind or coach or business community. Trust me, your perspective really changes when you're reminded that you aren't one of one. So I say, reach out for ideas and support, because the alternative, just rehashing your ideas and experience over and over, will just give you rehashed results. You know what they say about doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. If you found this information helpful, please leave a review and tell a friend. Thanks for spending the time. Until next week, same time, same place.